Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel today. I'm Kevin and today we're back to our politics topic. So after a lot of laws and also about feminists, today we are going to talk about some things that not about individuals or groups. Today we are going to talk about the whole planet. Yes, that's right. We are going to talk about the responsibility for people who has harmed and make the planet become polluted. So our topic today is about who is responsible for the planet. So let's come straight into our topic. Humans have done many terrible things to the planet, or we could say Earth, from dumping oil and pumping out pollution to causing climate change by burning fossil fuels. So most people agree that society needs to fix this. But how can politicians help us to fix the problems that we made for our planet? So today our main topic is about the way and also method and the theories that politicians and the politic could use to make our society improve and reduce the problems that we made for our planet. For example, the pollution, the climate change, and also about a lot of other things. If we don't talk about pollution and climate change, we could also talk about some jungle problem. For example, let's say, okay, the place. I don't really know how to say those words in English, but the place and the the largeness of the jungle on planet is become more and more small. Or you could say there is not having too much tree in our planet left compared to it like let's say 100 years ago. Okay, there are so many jungles, so many forests that has been used into human goals, human problems, and they use this for profit, uses what they call the improvement, the development, but they are still making the environment become worse and worse. So today we are going to talk about how politicians help us to reduce and prevent those problems to keep become worse or make them become better. So the politicians can make laws to reduce pollution and tackle climate change. For example, they could ban cars that burn fossil fuel, or at least rise tax on fuels. So that means yes, politicians have an obviously effect on the environment or the climate change because they could control the price of everything. The politicians can control the price of fuel, they can also control the price of wood. For example, if they make the wood become more expensive, that means more people will go into, let's say, taking more wood, or you could say mining it. I really don't know how to say, but chopping, okay, chopping tree and taking more wood from our forest in the planet. So the way that we must do that, the people, okay, raise the tax, we lower the price of the goods and also of the wood product, and that way people cannot get too much profit from wood. And on the same way, on the opposite hand, or on the other hands, we rise the tax of wood from like let's say 20%. I don't know, like Donald Trump, but yeah, when some things have a low price but the taxes make it become too expensive, people will try to avoid using it as much as possible. The next way that politicians can do that, they could also making others think like encourage people to do things they want. For example, to planting more trees or to avoid using things that made by wood. Of course, there's a lot of things that need wood to make, so it's a little bit difficult if we use wood and forest as an example. Let's come to some opposite opinion. So politicians maybe can raise the taxes and the price of the product, but they don't want the law to make the product become expensive like that, because a lot of voters cannot afford some things that is too expensive but is necessary for their own life. For example, fuels and wood, or let's say some other politicians want to make money out of fossil fuels. So if a politicians going to raise the taxes of fuels and wood, maybe they cannot be a politician. They couldn't be a politician anymore because the voters avoid them. And also people who want to make profit, we could call those the business, also avoid to making contact with those politicians, and it's end up that those politicians don't have the voters and the money at the same time. They lost everything. Okay, but there are a lot of politicians who do want to help, of course, and unlike us, they have access to scientists and others experts, so who can advise them on how society as a whole groups need to change if we want to save our planet. So the examples I'm giving you guys is on two sides. The first thing is about the positive side, that trying to reduce the problem, and the opposite side is trying to take out the real difficulties that when we make that make that ideas to solve the problems become reality. So yes, maybe politicians have a lot of politicians want to help and they have more access to experts. So maybe it's more important to lobby private companies instead of government. So this thing, is about the problems of the government and politicians, but we have to talk about something else first before we keep going to those words. So when we say that politicians have the access to the experts and scientists, so what about the fact that governments change every few years? And the next government could undo any laws that the previous made. So for some of you guys who don't really watch my videos, so the politicians is a group, and of course government is also a type of politicians. And if we talk like that, that means the government and the politicians group, like the parliament, the upper house, the lower house, the Supreme Court, there are always politicians, and sometimes they change. So everything could change one day, right? So that's a good point, and maybe it's more important to lobby private companies instead of government. This is another opinion from the good side or the positive side in my example. And for the negative side, they say you don't even have to lobby a company to make a change. It's enough customers simply stop buying their products. It's a very powerful motivator. Okay, a very powerful motivation for a company to change its way. That is a lot. This is a lot of good point and making lots of sense in the words, even when they are on the opposite side. But still, they try to make our examples or our story start to turn to the point that we are not dependent on the politicians. And that's why they call them the opposite side opinion, because they tend to take out the difficulties when politicians try to solve the problems, and also they make the solution for those problems but without any contact and effect from the politicians. Okay, so maybe that is also a good point. But shouldn't government work to encourage companies to charge rather than relying on people to protest? And at the last words, the opposite side say, that's a nice idea in theory, but governments are made up of people, and people can become corrupt. So if someone becomes corrupt, they are not taking something fairly. And the news is full of stories about government officials being friends with companies that create the pollutions. So in the whole examples that I'm using, I used to talk with you guys today, we could see that yes, even when we use politicians or the citizens, it's still having some disadvantage on it. If we use the politicians and the government as a tool so that we could stop the pollution and the problems that we made for our planet. So some things that may happen like corruption, right? And also there is some problems that the citizens must solve themselves too. For example, when the politicians making laws, that laws could be used, we could dodge the law, avoid to cross the law, but somehow we're still using our own ways to do the things that the law has prevent, but in the ways that the laws don't tell that we cannot do. Okay, so that's the disadvantage of the laws. And if we use the citizens to solve the problems, but without any help from the politicians, so that's a right way. I think that's the right way. For my opinion, that's right, that's good, and maybe that will be effective. But these problems is coming when the people who want to protect their environment really come out. Why is that? Because there are not so many people that really care for our environment. Some people care for the profit and the things that they have in their close future more than the long future that we have for our next generation. For me, I am a student, I'm young, and of course I care for myself more than my son. I don't even know that I have a wife or not, so I cannot decide that yes, we should save it for our next generation, like that. But maybe when I get older, I will get a new vision for life and politics, and maybe I will change my opinion somehow. Okay, so that's all I want to say with you guys today. Thank you for listening, and this is the end of my video. And this is the, yeah, let's say this is a little bit complicated because I misspoke. Of course, I misspoke. But yes, this is the video. Yeah, the end of the video. Okay, the end of the video that I want to talk with you guys about the topic of environment and our responsibility for the planet. And of course, after all, the things we need to do is to take responsibility and to do things that we know that is right, and making good things, the right things that protect our planet and making us become richer, become better, make our society develop in the same way as once. Okay, so that's all I want to say. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in my next video. And now it's time for saying goodbye. See ya, my viewers. Bye bye.